Pedro, welcome to the Building and Growing podcast. We're delighted to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Lucas. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Pedro, would you like to kick things off by telling the audience a little bit about yourself, perhaps, your background and then what you're doing now?
Yeah, thank you. So name's Pedro Pinto, currently VP of Growth at Soldo. I've been there for about just under a year. In terms of background, it's more from a kind of product development. So started as a kind of developer, and then made my way through from QA into product management, and really fell in love with the process of like discovering and delivering value to customers.
Yes.
Eventually moved more into kind of sales roles, business development. And really enjoyed, working with customers that are looking for a solution to a problem that can really have an impact in their business. And eventually kind of circled back into product as it's kind of transformed into, product-led growth.
Yes.
How do you deliver value to customers and continually repeat that value for them? So that's pretty much kind of like my background, and I got into growth.
Fantastic. That's a great story. And, I think it's, certainly I don't often see the journey of people moving from a development or product background into growth. Quite often it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. You've done the reverse.
Yeah, thanks. It's around the kind of the skill set. From a personality perspective, being curious.
Yes.
You're always looking to learn and why things are broken, and looking to try and kind of fix them.
Yes.
You want to measure, you want to see of what you do, what impact does it have, and you're kind of interested in people, how do they react to the things you're building or creating.
Yes.
And when you're building great products, it's really down to the user. When you're looking at marketing, it's a similar experience, right? It is you're creating a campaign or an asset, you're seeing if people are engaging with it, and does it have the result that you're looking for?
Indeed.
So the skill sets transfer very easily from product to marketing, and even sales to a certain degree.
Yeah, indeed. And look, you've been able to apply those learnings and let's say, that approach at multiple different tech companies. I know, we had the pleasure of working together at Revolut, and then since then you moved into Neat, and now, you're at Soldo. And so it's been a really big journey.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I been in kind of the SaaS space for I guess almost 15 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Working at Sophos, a UK HQ company, and that was really kind of my first taste in terms of product development.
Yes.
And product management, and then kind of going into Box after that. So the kind of in the collaboration space, Huddle actually. Follow on, and then obviously we started our journey together at Revolut, and that was very much the beginning of my fintech experience.
Indeed.
As you said, after that, Neat, Rapid, and Soldo now. So I guess it's loads of experience in the kind of tech space. Last few years has been really exciting journey on the fintech space.
Yes.
And loads of learnings in the market.
Indeed. Fantastic. So, when we were speaking just before, you talked about product-led growth. Are you able to expand on what that means?
Yeah. I think for me, it's not just around having like the best possible product. It's really kind of in terms of understanding of what value, what you're delivering, you've built, gives to people, and understanding, kind of solutioning. So it can be used for multiple use cases. How you kind of grow is by, are people using that product? Are they continuously using it? Versus, you sell, and whether that product gets adopted or even deployed
Yes.
you've made money up front, right?
Yeah.
So the kind of traditional model of you sell licenses or software package,
Yes.
and whether the customer uses or not doesn't really matter, is kind of gone. The
Yes.
product-led growth is you get a product and you make sure that there's value for that customer.
Indeed.
The more they use that product, the more likely you are to grow.
Yes.
So that becomes really important of that the customer is activated, so they're using the product as quickly as possible.
Yes.
On a monthly basis, they're getting more value from it by using it repeatedly, right? And you want them to use it for as long as possible.
Yes.
And as you add to the product, to use more features to also creates virality. So can you get those customers, those users, to tell other people about the product and get them to use it as well?
Yes.
So for me, that's really like the essence of product-led growth.
Indeed. Thank you. And look, I mean, I think one of the things you mentioned about, let's say, cross-feature penetration or cross-service penetration, when it comes to a particular product, is the fact that then, SaaS companies are able to just slightly increase the price and the lifetime value of that customer as the customer adopts more and more.
Exactly. But there has to be a mutually beneficial relationship or like arrangement right?
Yes.
As the customer gets more value, the company can extract more value for themselves, right? They can increase the prices.
Yes.
That doesn't work if the customer does not like your product.
Yeah.
If you're not solving a problem for that customer.
Yes.
So that kind of continuous commitment to we will make the product better, we will add more features that the customer will use and solve more problems.
Yes.
Is really the key driver for growth.
Yeah, and I think one way that companies are able to, solve problems in conjunction with other companies are through product integrations. So, do you have a view on product integrations as a way of acquiring customers as opposed to, say, affiliate marketing?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think best companies understand their niche and go really deep on that problem.
Yes.
So, but they understand that they can add value by partnering up and integrated with other specialists, right?
Yes.
So rather than trying to own the whole space, you kind of go, I'm best of breed on this one thing that I do, but I can solve a wider range of your problems by integrating with this other company or product and offer you a seamless experience. So again, it's kind of doubling the value that's been delivered for the customer. I think affiliate is more of like an acquisition strategy.
Yeah.
So one is about, you kind of can deliver more to the customer for less, so you're developing less.
Yes.
You can also mutually between those two companies cross-sell, right?
Yeah.
Across your partnership. So there's an element of like growth and acquisition.
Yes.
But it's pretty targeted. When we look at affiliate marketing, is more of a like I like it. I think it's a great strategy, but it's a kind of like low risk, low cost.
Yes.
It is very much you pay for what you get.
Yes.
It allows you to basically expand and experiment in different territories or in kind of different areas. It's a new channel.
Yes.
Without having to invest too much.
Yeah.
There's some great affiliate marketing platforms where they're fully managed, right?
Yes.
So you just send some assets, decide how much you're willing to spend up to, and then you wait for a return. So I think they solve different problems, but they're both great tools for growth.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I think that's a really eloquent summary, let's say, of it. I know, well, at least from some of the conversations I've had with founders who have done affiliate marketing, if you think about it, now in early 2023 relative to, let's say, early 2022, there was a lot of spend on a, say, cost per lead basis for affiliates, whereas now it's falling further down the funnel to, all right, we're only going to pay a revenue share of the SaaS fees.
Yeah. And I think the whole market, as in, let's say, like growth leaders are kind of changing on being very clear about what the kind of cost of acquisition is, what the kind of CAC payback is across all the different channels. And affiliate marketing can be great at giving you really fast top of the funnel growth.
Yes.
But they're not specialists at your product. You're being chucked into a category. And it may work, it may not. So the revenue share model is like you both have skin in the game.
Yes.
But I think most of the time it comes down to execution. What are you doing with those leads? What are you doing with the opportunities that affiliate marketers, platforms are sending your way?
Yes.
So like I think where possible, revenue share is always like the best option.
Yes.
That's not available for every platform. I think it's still worth exploring and taking some learnings from it.
Yes, fantastic. And then, just looping back slightly to, the point you made about product integrations, I think when I visualize it with affiliates, it's a funnel. With product integrations, it's always almost a pipe. So let's say, I'll give a fintech or a digital bank example. You spend money with a card, that records a transaction on the bank statement, and then you're pushing that transaction through a cloud accounting software, and so it's that full pipe approach, and it's seamless because the pipes are all equal and going down.
Yeah, and the benefit there is primarily for the customer. You're helping them save time or automating a process.
Yes.
Where alternatively it would probably be like you download a CSV from your fintech platform and you upload that CSV into your automated accounting platform to reconcile. So having those kind of integrations becomes it helps you with selling as well, because when customers are looking for a solution, they're like, well, I already have this component. I want something that's going to work seamlessly with it. Versus making my life more difficult. But if the customer doesn't, the way you describe your use case and the value is you can do your spend, and we have these pipes that can, if you use this other solution, is all full automated. So the value is much larger, much higher for the customer.
Indeed, it's frictionless. So,
exactly, right? And that's what we're all trying to do, is make life much more frictionless for our customers and users.
Indeed.
So they can focus on what really matters, right? Their businesses or time to them for themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And looking at other forms of growth, I know SEO was a really hot topic over the years, and I heard mixed opinions about it, because some people say you can write really good content, but it might not be what the algorithm wants. Therefore, some people might write rubbish content because from a technical standpoint, it's what the algorithm wants. And so the website, will be ranked higher. So do you have any views on, how SEO is evolving?
Yeah, I'm by no means like an expert. But my opinion is quality content always wins.
Yes.
I think, with SEO, it's still crucial, right? If you want that content to be easily found, you still follow the basics. And I think they're just best practice. Obviously that, traditionally, people have done a lot of like keyword stuffing and played with to try and cheat the algorithm. And I think that's why it's a lot more sophisticated these days.
Okay.
And it tends to be very much quality and relevance. So it's not just if you're creating a great piece of content right now, is that you've consistently talked about that subject, those keywords across your platform.
Yes.
So it's not one-off articles. It is really like themes or keywords where you already have the authority as a brand.
Yes.
So it's more of a long-term game these days to get to page one and get a lot of organic content.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, a lot of SEO goes down to a very small set of search engines.
Yes.
Where they're in the game of not just SEO, they're also on paid search and so forth. So there's a lot more overlap between those disciplines.
Yes.
So if you are doing paid search, a lot of the techniques are SEO based. In terms of relevance, in terms of the content that needs to be on those pages as well. So there's a lot more overlap between the two.
Yes.
But yeah, I think SEO is still very relevant. Quality of the content should always be the most important. Consistency, talk about the same thing.
Yes.
Over a significant period of time, because you should be talking about the things you're an expert on.
Yes.
And that's what's going to help you the most.
Okay, fantastic. And another sort of channel that we discussed over the summer was email deliverability. For a lot of startups or companies in general, outbound emails is a key tool for them, a key way to grow. Do you have a view on what the best practices or trends are in the email deliverability space?
Yeah. Contrary to many reports, email is not dead.
Yes.
Yeah, email is still one of the more kind of effective channels, especially when you look at ROI.
Yes.
But you also have to be very careful in terms of how you use it. So I think the conversation is more around your subscribers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So how are you getting your subscribers? How are you getting those contacts that you're going to email?
Yes.
Deliverability often is based on the quality of your contacts. And that if those contacts actually do want to receive your messages, right? So they see it as genuine.
Yeah.
So the key is email is still really important. Focus on ensuring that your subscription lists are up to date. You're cleaning them. You're validating those emails. When you send emails, if you're seeing that there's a high bounce rate, remove those emails as soon as possible.
Yes.
Make sure that you have like the right footers, and incredibly important, give people the option to unsubscribe and opt out.
Yes.
But also, you should have a look at SMS marketing.
Okay.
So a lot of companies, especially if you're like in e-commerce, retail, allow people to subscribe to SMS.
Yeah.
There's some great companies out there that offer that as an engagement channel.
Fantastic.
So the same, the same way that you subscribe to an email can capture your phone number and email at the same time.
Yes.
And you can get, real-time updates.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And, given the amount of time that we spend on our phones these days, it's definitely a channel that's growing and highly profitable.
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, thank you for that sort of the rundown on email deliverability. I always look at it again as a funnel, so sort of the quality list at the top, email deliverability rate, influenced by the quality of the list, open rate of the emails influenced by the subject line, and then click-through rates, I guess, influenced by the content, the quality of the content.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things for email, if you want to grow engagement and conversion, so that kind of click-through rate, is A/B testing, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned the subject line, make sure you segment your subscribers, so that you're personalizing your messaging as much as possible, and then test it, right? Like A/B test, see what are the subject lines that are going to give you the biggest open rate.
Yes.
And then, test the copy of the email, test the call to actions to see what's going to give you the best click-through rate.
Indeed.
And it's important also, like often with email, you're communicating with your customer in quite an intimate way. Like you are intruding into their day-to-day.
Yes.
So it's important to try and build a relationship to provide value.
Yes.
When you're emailing them, it shouldn't just be do this.
Yeah.
So again, and I keep going back to value because I think for me that's one of the most important things when it comes to growth.
Yes.
But there has to be something in it for them. Versus just you constantly asking them to sign up, to buy, to do something. Again, mutually beneficial relationship across all the different channels that you use.
Indeed. It's kind of like that book, Givers and Takers.
Exactly. Yeah.
What can you give,
What's in it for me?
Yeah, indeed. And look, talking about giving, are you able to give us an overview about your recent growth series?
Yeah. So I had a privilege of being part of this kind of growth community and having these roles where I've had a lot of personal growth. I've had a lot of learnings.
Yes.
Opportunity to work with really talented people, including yourself,
thank you.
who I was able to learn a lot from. So the series was my way of kind of giving back.
Yes.
So I've recently joined Growth Mentors. So
Nice.
The key there is really to kind of help young professionals that are interested in growth.
Yes.
But that was hey, here's some information, here's some learnings.
Yeah.
Take them. Hopefully, kind of helps people do a bit better as growth professionals. And it's something that's ever evolving, right? So a lot of that might be true and work today.
Yeah.
It's something that we'll continue to revisit to make sure that those techniques still work.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're interested, the series walks through all of the key metrics of growth, or the pirate metrics. So from awareness, acquisition, activation, revenue, retention and referral.
Wow. Yes.
And what are the kind of appropriate channels across all of those different kind of metrics, how you can meaningfully impact them.
Yes.
I'd recommend check them out. You can find them on my LinkedIn.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll have to put a link in the comments.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, excellent. And you mentioned that you've just become a member of Growth Mentors. And so I'm going to ask a cheeky question. Are you able to share any tips for, young professionals in, let's say, the growth or sales or marketing industry?
Yeah, I think the first advice is if you want to pursue those type of careers, they can be highly rewarding. But if you have a choice, pick a company if you can, or at least a space that you're passionate about.
Yes.
Because that is the thing that's going to keep you going. Personally, from a growth, my growth career is you learn from failure.
Yes.
Right. So persistence is really important. So you have to keep failing, keep doing things that don't work out. You measure, you try again. And eventually it does. And my experience in sales is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to be getting into sales and you're a young person, your first role is probably going to be a SDR, like sales development rep.
Yeah.
You're going to do cold emails and cold calling. You're going to be dialing 50 people a day. You might have 2 meetings. But, it really helps that if you're talking about something you're passionate, that you care, that has some meaning to you. And the other thing is, be willing to learn, to take feedback, right? From other people, seek knowledge.
Yes.
Listen to your colleagues.
Yeah.
And adapt, right? I think that's super important because those roles are results driven. Velocity is key.
Yes.
But as I said, they can be hard, but highly rewarding, and I would encourage anyone to at least try.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, thank you so much for sharing those tips. So, we've talked a fair bit about, sales conceptually. Do you mind telling us a bit more about, your experience, maybe some of those failures, how you've come to gain this knowledge in sales?
Yeah. So I think one of the roles that was more focused on business development and sales was at Huddle.
Yes.
So I took over the commercial team there. So it's kind of building out something that we didn't really have at the time. A mid-market sales team. So focusing on high volume deals versus high value, right?
Yeah.
That was interesting of kind of starting a sales team from pretty much scratch.
Yes.
And having a completely different sales cycle and sales velocity.
Yes.
We ended up just promoting SDRs into that function.
Yeah.
It was very much data led. So what's the optimal number of demos per week per rep, right? Like sales capacity. What was the conversion from an MQL to an SQL? What was the average deal sizes? So it was 6 months of loads of failures and some learnings. But the team became incredibly successful. Generated a lot of kind of revenue within the first 12 months. So I then was given the opportunity to go and help implement that in the US.
Yes, nice.
I moved to San Francisco for a while. I started the process of setting up the team there. I was lucky enough that a colleague from London also came with me and was the first sales rep on the ground. And then just the process of like recruiting, implementing the processes again. And the culture is different. Selling in the US is very different than selling in the UK. I'll say selling in Europe is much harder. But I think also Americans do have this kind of like this charisma, right? That is kind of charm. That is very easygoing. They're very relaxed. So I think it also makes things a bit easier. So I think with that was again, even though I had someone that was experienced, it was a new set of customers in a new market, different purchasing style.
And you're like a challenger brand there.
Exactly.
Starting from scratch.
And at the time there was another Huddle that did something very similar. So there wasn't really brand recognition, but a lot of brand confusion.
Indeed.
But luckily the US market is pretty big. So there was always opportunities for the team to work. It was just learning on how we close, what's the disciplines that we needed to improve. And it was very much, a numbers game to begin, figuring out again, where's your product market fit. And where are the industries that you think you can really add value again, where you're solving problems that people care about. And often you then start having some traction. And one of the things that I learned recently on a LinkedIn post, and I thought really resonated with me, was message market fit. Right? So you could have a great product and you could have the audience or the market that works for it, but like you cannot communicate the values. And that's where your like message to the market fit really comes in. So our unique selling point that resonating really strongly in the UK did not resonate in the same way in the US. So that was a big learning of, we talk about personalization, localization, but often in a region where the language is the same, you don't see the need to do that, but it's incredibly important.
Indeed.
And then the next stage of that journey was setting up our kind of U.S. government team in Washington. And for me, that was like a real challenge because I didn't really know the space as well. So we had some great customers, I won't mention, but it was very different. So it was, finding people that would be, can get clearance to go and pitch and sell at certain government business. It's not a digital relationship. It's very much face to face.
Yes.
So that was, quite a big challenge. I was lucky enough that we had some experienced salespeople on the ground. So it was less of a like rebuild in that case and much more of a like expanding the team.
Yes.
And those deals were very different. These was like enterprise ELA, like enterprise level agreement deals that were taking 6 months, 9 months to close. Exactly. So I was lucky to go from these high velocity, high volume sales business, setting up a new team, expanding in the US, where those deals were a bit bigger, but still commercial, still high velocity, to then these are really like high level enterprise sales motion in a very highly regulated environment.
Yes.
That for us made it meant that we were one of the few players in the room when it came to those customers.
Yes.
But it also meant that it was just very difficult to get sign off and to close those deals. So salesmanship was incredibly important there.
Indeed.
And building really lasting relationships where we were seen as trusted advisors to those businesses.
Yes, and look, I'm really glad that you've mentioned that final piece about the longer enterprise sales processes and the trusted advisor point as well. I certainly know that I learned a lot from you when it came to understanding the investment that you put in prior to a sale. And so are you able to talk a little bit about, customer acquisition cost and lifetime value, but perhaps not from the digital marketing perspective, but more from, the enterprise sales perspective?
I think before something, touches an enterprise sales rep, there's been a significant amount of investment there, right? So there's already been some marketing activity or some way. But often is then enterprise sales, you're making a bet because you are adding a lot of key resources there. So your ticket price us to pay back that level of investment.
Yes.
So you're hoping for a much higher sell, and it pays itself back because that customer is likely to not churn, right? So enterprise sales, you're looking for kind of 95 and above % retention rates.
Wow.
Right? Because you're selling for companies that are established, they hate change.
Yes.
Hence why the sales cycle is so long. But then also why retention is so high. But it is really a process on building trust, showing that you understand their problem, understand that you clarify that you are the clear solution for their problem, and then that you have to build that relationship of helping them sell your products within their organization, because the person that you're speaking with in most cases maybe the champion, maybe the person that has the problem, but rarely are they the economic buyer, right? Rarely are they the person that's gonna sign off on that, hopefully 6-digit check that you need, right? So it is a really kind of multi-layered approach of you're kind of selling, and once you've established that there is value and there is the right solution, how do you coach the team internally to drive that relationship, right? Drive that deal through.
Yes.
So it's an art. It's very much about building relationships.
Indeed, and I really like the example you gave about the person who sitting across from not being the one that actually signs the check.
Yeah.
There was a quote that I heard, and it said, if the person says yes, they're not going to be the one that signs it off. You need to find someone that's going to say no, because then you found the real key decision maker.
Yeah, I would agree with that comment, right?
Yeah.
And then it's how do you convince that person that while you're pitching that the problem that you solve is important enough.
Yes.
And it should be their priority, so they take action now.
Yeah, indeed.
Because it's not about the software. It's not about the solution, like what you're selling. It is about the pain that you're solving.
Indeed.
Right? And or the value that you're adding to the business.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends also. There are certain things that are very clear, like invest in this thing and we're going to help you grow your business by delivering sales.
Yeah.
Right? So those decisions are much easier because the customer can see a very clear ROI.
Yes.
When it thinks more abstract or efficiency or so forth, it can be a bit harder to pitch that. It can be harder for people to understand what value they're going to get by changing and the cost of change versus just keeping things as they are.
Yeah, indeed. And that's why I think it's so important for salespeople to quantify those pain points. So, for example, if there's a customer support agent, maybe you've got 500 customer support agents and they can resolve 10 chats an hour, but bringing in a chat bot will increase that to 25. You account for the incremental cost of the chat bot, and then if there's a saving, well, then there's going to be a positive return on investment.
And I think with those things also, is it that it gives you an opportunity that you can grow your business without having to employ more people? Or is it that even if that doesn't happen, those people that were doing just chat can do more valuable things
Indeed.
For you and create more value for your company?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think as a salesperson is just having that understanding of it's not a single track. You kind of have to adapt to what is the customer looking for.
That's right.
Yeah, they don't always see what are the returns that you can bring into their business.
Indeed. Yeah. A lot of the sales reps I've dealt with have been very feature led, and they're like, this is AI, it's a really good feature, but, so what does that mean for a business?
Interesting enough, you can be part of how people are buying software these days or buying solutions, right? Most people start that process through search.
Yes.
So whether it's SEO or paid, it doesn't matter. But like people have a high intent of I am looking for X.
Yes.
So then the conversation becomes I'm looking for this solution that is this, and I've read a bit and I want these key features.
Yes. Yeah.
So the sales conversation becomes great. Like we offer those key features and our features are better than everyone else, or versus being like, why are you looking for this solution in the first place? How important is it? How is it going to change your business?
Yes.
These specific features, how are they part of that story? How are they part of your initiative to do X?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And how much value does this specific feature actually bring versus this other thing? Because what you're actually trying to solve is this problem.
Yes. Yeah.
And that can take a bit of time. That can go against what the customer wants, because the customer is just like, well, I just want to talk about, this widget and this blue button and this red button. Why are you asking me about my business?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
But they love those exploratory calls, the salespeople,
But those are the calls that are really important. If it's salespeople use them well, they can go back to the customer, or the prospects, and be like, well, you still want to do this because, as you said when we started talking, this will help you grow your business or reduce costs or whatever their goal is.
Yes.
And we can actually solve that pain point irrespective of feature A or feature B. We have this other way that you didn't think about.
Indeed.
And we can show you that, right? And I think it's something that I feel has maybe gotten lost a bit, or in these very much like buyer-led market, which is I want this, and then the salesperson is like, cool, it's here, versus being more consultative.
But I think that consultative approach will now come out as budgets are
exactly
during the recession.
Yeah, you are very right. So I think we are seeing that happening, which is there's less maybe like opportunities in some places, or like kind of pipeline. So sales reps are not just like, I'm gonna go for the easy one. It is like, no, I'll work every opportunity. I'll go a bit deeper and get the information that's really kind of like needed to make sure that this, like we're getting to the root of the problem.
Indeed. And then feeding that back to the stakeholders so that they can retell that sales story inside the company.
Yeah. And for me, that's the most important thing, right? That's why as sales people, even through, kind of growth acquisition, when we're getting someone that starts the sign-up journey, they don't always complete it within the same day, right? Like people get busy.
Indeed.
So you end up in this process where you're kind of nurturing them, but what you're trying to do is educate them.
Yes.
You try and take guesses of why they've kind of come to you, because you have data that can give you that sort of indication. If you're from industry X, we have a bunch of customers that have this use case. This is the value that they got from it. This is the ROI in terms of timing, in terms of efficiency, in terms of savings. And you're seeing what they're reacting to. They've opened that email with that subject about that thing. That is what resonates. Send them the series that's related to that. So it's all about, it's still the same technique. You're just not using a person to do that. So, but it is, act as a trusted advisor. So that person still has the agency to make their own decisions, but they're making the decisions based on the information that they really need, which is to solve a problem versus seeking a widget or a feature.
And that's a fantastic summary of it. Thank you.
Pedro,
thanks so much for providing so many responses across the whole growth spectrum. We've covered everything from product led growth to affiliate marketing, product integrations. We've discussed the importance of quality content with SEO, how to ensure that email deliverability funnels or email, as a channel stays relevant, again, through quality content. We've discussed SMS marketing, and then, perhaps the most interesting one at the end was building sales teams and looking at consultative sales, particularly because the consultative sales approach now during a recession is so important. I wanted to, finish off with just one other question, which is, given the current economic uncertainty, what would 3 sort of takeaways or pieces of advice you would give to founders be?
Great question. My first piece of advice is look at your unit economics. Focus on a path to profitability. And being a sustainable business versus growth at all costs. Growth is important, but you can definitely have sustainable growth. We talked about content. We talked about email. Those are things that SEO that can give you growth and new customers at significant low costs.
Indeed.
Also, invest on trying to understand your product market fit. So talk to as many of your prospects and customers as possible. Get them to use the product. Sometimes start for free, but just get learnings. And then use your customers as your megaphone. So even when we're looking at, as I was saying before, the message market fit is your customers are going to be able to communicate value much better than you ever will.
Yes.
So customers will tell you that this widget, this feature has had these impacts on my life, my business, my whatever.
Yes.
That is really powerful.
Indeed.
That is what's going to resonate with the market.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, for me, part of just how always having this obsessive, maniacal, customer-centric view in everything that you do.
Yeah.
Because if you look after your customers, everything else will look after themselves. Like your customers will help you sustain your business, will help generate the revenue that you need to go and acquire more prospects.
Yes.
And if you can convert and retain those, your business will grow in a scalable and sustainable way.
Indeed. Yeah, look, thank you for those learnings. And I really love the last one about, the customers being the megaphone. If you can solve a problem for someone, then it will go viral.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
You just need that customer to tell 2-3 other people about it, right? And capture that, and that's your pathway to growth.
That's right. That's right.
If that customer is not happy and they're trapped in your product, you're very unlikely to retain that customer.
Yes.
And we all know it's a lot more effort and costly to acquire new customers than it is to maintain the customers that we have today.
Indeed.
Yeah. And there's many ways of retaining your customers. For me, again, being customer centric and product led. If you can do it self-service, if you can just make sure that your product is simple enough and well built enough that customers can just self onboard, use the products by themselves. Before you make anything too complicated where you need to add additional support.
Yes, indeed.
So, that would be my bit of advice for founders these days.
Fantastic. Pedro, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing your story.
Thank you very much for having me, Lucas. It's been a pleasure.
You're most welcome. The pleasure was mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.